Hey, what is up, everybody? And yes, I am going to be doing a GFW video. I know it's been about almost a month since I've done a GFW video, maybe about a few weeks. But the reason for that is I've just been extremely busy. I've been back in school and just haven't really had much time to make many videos. And I've been trying to schedule time to squeeze in some GFW videos, so I'm here to give it to you guys. Now I'm about a few episodes behind on GFW, so I plan on catching up on it, and I'm here to do that now. And I will say this: I know a lot of stuff has happened behind the scenes with GFW over the past few weeks since I've not been watching. Not that I haven't wanted to, I just haven't had the time. So what I've decided to do is, instead of talking about the backstage stuff, I'm going to save that stuff for a future episode of the Aftershock Corner, which we're coming up with a 100th episode on Friday. Please make sure you guys check out the Aftershock Corner. The playlist for that is down in the description box below. But I don't think we're going to talk about it on the 100th episode. But on a future episode of the Aftershock Corner, we will discuss all the things that are going on behind the scenes with GFW. But with these shows that I'm reviewing, it would just strictly be the product that I see on screen and stuff. Yeah, not like a lot of stuff behind the scenes. It's just going to be the TV shows. If the behind the scenes stuff does affect the TV shows, then I will cover it. But yeah, at the moment I will. At the moment it would just be I'm just gonna be going based off what I see on the weekly TV shows. So yeah, so since it's been a few weeks since I've seen GFW, I figured I would start with the one night only show that they aired. It's back on August 15th. 2017. This is GFW Amped Anthology Part 1, I believe it's called, but I'm gonna post the real title of it actually on the title, but I'm just going off the cuff of my head. And yeah, I did do a predictions video for it, so make sure you guys check that out in the playlist down in the description box below when I make it for this series. And I've talked about some interesting stuff, how they have some current WWE superstars showing up for this show, and I will get to that as they show up throughout the show. But I'm just gonna kind of watch the show. Now I will mention I'm gonna try to be a little bit of a fair critic here. I'm not gonna completely probably rant about certain things, because I do got to remember that this was filmed back in 2015 when they originally first started GFW, so it's still going to be a little bit weird. I will try to be a fair grader and rate match quality on match quality, but I will talk about what I thought of the show overall at the end. So now that I've kind of discussed that, let's just get right into this show itself. I'm going to be breaking down my review into different sections after each promo or each match. I will come on here and talk about it. So now that I've discussed that, let's get right into the video. Okay, so it starts off by showing a video package kind of building up the show, kind of talking about what Global Force Wrestling is all about, kind of introducing it. You know, you have people like Karen Jarrett, Mickey James, Bobby Roode, Nick Aldis. I think that was his name. It's Magnus from TNA. I don't know how to say his GFW name. Chris Mordinsky, Brian Myers, and they were just kind of all talking about what GFW was and how this isn't going to be scripted stuff. This is going to be their real lives. And the talk, it kind of breaks down what matches to expect to see for tonight, and just kind of goes into like this big in-depth video talking about what GFW was. And overall, I thought this was a pretty good video package. It wasn't anything fantastic, but I thought it was a pretty good video package. It kind of got you hyped up to want to see these superstars. Like I said, it's a bit weird though, because they're advertising guys that are in WWE. Like we saw guys here, like Bobby Roode, Brian, who at the time when this actually aired was the NXT champion. You have Brian Myers, who's now back wrestling on the main roster in WWE every week. Who else was it? Who else was here? You had the Bollywood Boys. They advertise. Obviously now they're on. They're also wrestling. Well, they're also on WWE television every week. And then you have Bullet Club members. They also advertise Bullet Club members. Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, who are also wrestling on WWE mainstream television every week. There was somebody else here that they advertise. Well, I guess not necessarily, but Nick Aldis, who shortly afterwards, because this was filmed in 2015, ended up leaving. Impact Wrestling, or TNA Impact Wrestling at the time. So, Mickey James is now back wrestling on is now back with WWE. So just a lot of WWE stars on this show, but a lot of stars that aren't even affiliated with G.F.W. today. So it's just kind of weird. Like I said, I'm trying to be fair, but it's really weird seeing all these guys get advertised. Even like PJ Black, I don't even know the last time he was even seen. So, but like I thought they did a good job, like explaining what GFW was supposed to be. So overall, I thought that was good. Alright, so we had the actual show itself. We had Chow Sonnen, I think that's how you say his name, and Cyrus Fees on commentary for this show. We just had a match, and they both did commentary for us as the commentators. And I thought they were pretty good on commentary. I didn't think they were like fantastic. I think Chow Sonnen. Obviously he's fought in the MMA and stuff before. I think he's actually doing a pretty good job. He's clearly supposed to be the heel commentator, and I think he's doing a really good job at it. And we had the first match on the show. It was a second generation championship first round tournament match. It was Sonata versus PJ Black. Obviously you have Sonata, who at the time was still with TNA actually when this was going down. It's kind of weird seeing him wrestling again, and this was when he was doing the whole Revolution thing, because this was filmed in the summer of 2015, and obviously I already kind of mentioned PJ Black, and apparently what this is pretty much it's the X Division Cruiserweight division of GFW. It's supposed to set up. It's just some of the best athletes in the world. They fight in this tournament, and damn, there's gonna be like 4 tournaments from what they said. There's gonna be the Global Championship Tournament, the Women's Title Tournament, the Tag Team Championship Tournament, and now we have the Second Gen Championship Tournament. A lot of tournaments, and I'm done seeing tournaments. I've seen enough tournaments with the CWC, which was fantastic. Then we had the tournaments to crown the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Then we had the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics in NXT in 2016. We had the United Kingdom Championship Tournament. There was another tournament in between there. Then we just recently had the tournament to the Mae Young Classics. So now I'm watching this tournament. And then for other people who haven't seen it, they had the Super Junior tournament, then they had the WCPW tournament. So they're just really throwing tournaments out there. But I'll start talking about this match. Overall, I thought this was a really good match. Both men performed chain wrestling holds on each other. Just some quick chain wrestling holds and some quick fast-paced offense. PJ Black hits a Enzuigiri to the back of the head of Sonata. He takes control for a little bit. He hits an Enzuigiri to the back of his head, and he goes to dive on him. Sonata fights out of it. He hits a shoulder guard. He hits a shoulder running shoulder thrust, which drives PJ Black off the apron into the guardrail. And Sonata takes control of the match for a little bit. And pretty much it's just a back and forth matchup where both men are trying to hit each other with their moves. They both keep hitting enziguris on each other. PJ Black hits a they both go for moonsaults. PJ Black goes for a moonsault, springboard moonsault. He misses. Sonata goes for his. He misses. Sonata hits a chicken wing suplex onto PJ Black. PJ Black hits a missile drop kick, and he just hit a lot of a lot of high flying moves in this match. Sonata hits a TKO, covers him, but he takes too long to get to the cover, so PJ Black's able to kick out, and PJ Black goes for the 450, but Sonata sees him coming and he tries to fight him off, but PJ Black knocks him off the turnbuckle, and he hits a springboard 450 splash for the win. Overall, I thought this was a really good match. If I had to, I'll do my star ratings at the end, but I thought this was a really good match, and it was a really good way to kind of kick off the show. A nice high fly, fast-paced action, and now PJ Black advances in the tournament, and I don't even know who's in this tournament, so I don't know whether or not he would win. So overall, I thought this was a really good match, though. Alright, so I just want to kind of go through the matches that are going to be in the G.F.W. Second Gen Championship Tournament, so that way I kind of know who's in this. So we just had PJ Black versus Sonata, where PJ Black won to advance in the tournament. He's going to be facing the winner of the Sanjay Dutt Jigsaw match, which sounds like a great match. I really want to see that. We're going to have, and also in this tournament, we're going to have TJ Perkins versus Andrew Everett, and Trevor Lee versus TCO. I can't see it because Daily Motion's being stupid. But those sound, those sound like some really good matches right there. You got Sanjay Dutt versus Jigsaw. That sounds like a fantastic match. I can't wait to see that. You got TJ Perkins versus Andrew Everett. Sounds like also a really good match. I kind of can't wait to see that. And then you got Trevor Lee. I don't really know who the other guy is, so I think it says like TCO. I don't know who that is, but I love Trevor Lee. I think he's doing some great work right now, currently in GFW. So I love Trevor Lee. So yeah, overall this looks like a really good tournament. I think it's going to be a really damn good tournament. And think about it, like the first round, like the matches aren't usually like fantastic. But that match actually between PJ Black and Sonata, that was actually a really good match, and I kind of can't wait to see the next match in the tournament. So overall, I'm pretty excited about this tournament. Okay, so next we had a video package for Kevin Cross, and he's going to be facing Bobby Roode in the main event because they're both fighting for the they're both fighting in the global championship tournament, and yeah, it just kind of gives us a little bit of a background information on him. I thought this was very well done. He talks about how he says his name, and he talks about how he got pretty much everything that he does revolves around professional wrestling. And he says that he's been a fan of the business for over 20 years. That he's when he first came during his rookie year, he was voted Rookie of the Year. He talks about how he's wrestled all over the world, in Japan, Canada, everywhere in the United States, and Mexico. And he also talks about how he just loves, how he loves wrestling. He talks about how his style, how the Japanese style and the hardcore style of wrestling helped make his make his movesets and what makes him dangerous. And he said that when he got the call to join GFW, he said that he knew that there was going to be a challenge of who was going to be in this tournament. That made him want to accept and take the challenge. And then that was it. Overall, I like Kevin Cross from what I've seen in this video package. I think he comes across really well in these video packages, and I actually kind of can't wait to see what he can do in the ring. So overall, I thought this was a good video package. Kind of a nice way to introduce them. Okay, so next we had Los Luchas Mysterios Jr. Backstage. This is the tag because the wrestler in the main event to in the tag team championship tournament. They said a lot of stuff in Spanish I didn't understand, but then they go on to say that they are the first team in this tournament. They're going to win and advance to the second round, and how tonight Lucha Wrestling goes global. So I can't really say whether this is a good promo because a lot of it was in Spanish, but from what I could understand of it, I thought it was an alright promo. So it was fine. It was a way to build up to the main event. Okay, so next, Bobby Roode comes out and he cuts a promo, and he talks about how he's here in G.F.W. in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he talks about what G.F.W. is supposed to mean, but then instantly, and he comes out to a great pop, and I gotta admit, even though it's very dated, it was pretty cool to see Bobby Roode come out again as the It Factor with his old TNA theme song. I thought that actually was pretty cool. Because it's been a while since I've seen him come out like that, since he's got his WWE theme song. It doesn't match up at all to the glorious theme song, but it is pretty cool to see him come out here like that. And then he says, though, but this win, but I don't belong here because I'm too good for this ring. He talks about how he's the best wrestler in the world, how he is a TNA guy, always has been, and he always will be, which is kind of funny hearing him say that back then. And then he says that he's been tag team champions and world champion multiple times in TNA. He's even the longest reigning world heavyweight champion in TNA wrestling, and he brings up all these legends, names, and TNA alumni and stuff that he held the title longer than. And he talks about, he even says that he held the title longer than the founder of G.F.W, Jeff Jarrett. And he talks about how at Slammiversary, this was back in Slammiversary 2015, when Jeff Jarrett came to his company and took something from him, and that was the Ken of the Mountain Championship. So he figured he would come here and enter the Global Championship Tournament and win that title and take it back to TNA with him. I thought this was a really good promo. It was very dated watching it back now because obviously you have TNA, obviously because Bobby Roode isn't in TNA anymore, and this happened so long ago. It would have been better if I had seen it at the time versus now. So then Nick Addis, I don't know how to say his last name, but it's Magnus pretty much. He comes out and he talks about how everybody here is part of a movement in wrestling, the global movement, and he talks about how everyone here is here because they're happy to see this new vision come in professional wrestling, and how he's a supportive of what Jeff Jarrett's trying to do, and he's a global force wrestling guy. And he says that everyone back there is fighting for the right to be champion, for the right to be the best in the world. And then he continues talking. Bobby Roode starts to back off, and then Congo Khan comes out and lays out Magnus, or Nick Addis, or whatever his name is, Nick Addis, and lays him out with a Samoan drop. Then he leaves. Then afterward, Bobby Roode comes in the ring, and he acts like he doesn't know what happened. He's like, why did you do that? And he's acts like he's going to let Nick Addis get up, and Bobby Roode puts him into the crossface, and referees have to pull him off, and then that was it. Overall, I thought this was actually a pretty good segment here. But like I said, I think what ruins the segment is that how dated it is, because obviously Bobby Roode, everything he was saying was just so dated because of everything that he's done now. Like I said, I did say I was going to try to rate this show without doing that, but this promo just because if I had seen it 2 years ago, what had happened, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more than I did. So, just being honest. Okay, next, PJ Black cuts one of those little video promos, and he talks about how in the first round of the second gen championship tournament, he came out on top, and he said that the tournament's just gonna get harder from here, but he's ready for the competition, and at the end, he's gonna come out on top and become the first ever second gen champion. Overall, I thought it was a nice little video promo, and I thought it was pretty decent. It wasn't anything fantastic, but I thought it was good. Alright, so then we had the main event, and it was Los Luchas Mysterios Jr. Versus Bestie 66, Blood Eagle, and Shimu Jr. This match I thought was fine. It really wasn't anything special. It was a fun match like to watch, but I didn't really think it was like good or anything, but I thought it was fine. Not like the right main event for this because technically when this was being taped, this was like being marketed as the first main event for G.F.W. Probably not the right main event for that. For like the first episode, I think they should have. I guess they wanted to show that like they could be a high flying company too, but I think you should have main evented somebody else. Like maybe have like a global championship tournament match instead, or maybe have that Bobby Roode. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the guy that's gonna face Bobby Roode in the tournament, maybe have that match main event instead. So I didn't really think that made any sense, but this was a fun match. I don't really know anybody in this match because it's the first time I've seen them, but a lot of dives in this match. Mysterio's Junior hit but they win. But like I said, I can't really. They hit. Sheamus Jr. hit like a cannonball on the outside. Mysterio's Jr. Two of them hit like two suicide dives on the outside. The heels team just dominate them in the beginning. They hit a like an inverted Michinoku driver. You know, some fun spots like that. But the finish comes when they hit a backbreaker into a splash for the win, and they win. And they win the match. And then they announce who's gonna be in the tag team championship #1 contenders match. In the tag team championship tournament, it's gonna be the Bollywood Boys versus the Akbars. Los Luchas, who was just in this match, versus Reno Scum. I heard Reno Scum is actually really good. It's actually a really good team. I've heard good things about them. Salams and Mysterios versus Tees and Sleaze. I think that's how you say that. The Bullet Club versus the Killer Elite Squad. And obviously I'm looking forward to kind of that match because it's got the Bullet Club, and I love watching Gallows and Anderson's matches. And I hear that the Killer Elite Squad's a good team, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, that was it for that. And this isn't at the end of the show, though, because I still have more of the show to watch. Like I said, these were TV shows that were taped, so I got confused when they said it was the main event. Well, that's not the case. This is not the main event, so don't go anywhere because I got more of this to do. But overall, I thought this was a fun match. Alright, so next we have a video package kind of wrapping everything up for this episode and kind of trying to tell us what's to come throughout the next season in GFW. Then it kind of brings us into this current episode I'm about to watch because you got to remember when these were taped as TV shows. So this wasn't necessarily supposed to be a pay-per-view ever, and it hypes up the matches coming up. It hypes up the match coming up between Bobby Roode and Kevin Cross, and I thought they did a good job building it up. Bobby Roode talks about how he wants to take the global championship with him back to TNA Wrestling. Kevin Cross talks about how Bobby Roode may have held a number of titles, but once I kick him in the face, those titles will go out the window. And he said that he's not just here to win championships, he's here to break necks and become champion. So overall, I thought they did a really good job building up to that match. And yeah, like I said, this is kind of weird because it feels like I am kind of watching a TV show, even though it should be like a pay-per-view. So it's a little bit weird in that regard. Okay, so next match was Virgil Flynn Jr. versus Kushida. They before the match they played a little hype video package, really introducing us to both guys and kind of a nice way to build up this match. Virgil Flynn Jr. talks about how how he's been wrestling for years, and people always have underestimated him, and he talks about how Kushida is because he's not watching any tapes on him, but he's watched tapes on Kushida before. He talked about Kushida's accolades, and he talks about how he may be the smallest guy, but he's gonna prove why he's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. Kushida talks about how wrestling is life to him, and how it was a dream come true when he won the junior heavyweight championship. Because this was at the time when he was the junior heavyweight champion. Since this was taped back in 2015, and he said that he's going to defeat Virgil Flynn Jr. tonight and move on. So I thought that was a pretty good promo segment, and this match was really good. If you're not gonna watch the show for anything, one thing worth watching it is for this match right here. This match is really good. In the beginning, Lowell Flynn Jr. and Kushida both start chain wrestling each other. Lowell Flynn Jr. Gets the upper hand on him, which I thought was kind of a nice way to do that, since he had talked about that Kushida hadn't been watching any tapes on him. He hits a Hurricanrana, a quick drop kick. He hits another Hurricanrana, sending him Kushida like a rib, with his head in between the ropes, and then he hits a right hand on him. And eventually Kushida starts to hit a couple of kicks to the shoulder, and he really starts to work over the arm of Lowell Flynn Jr., which makes sense considering the fact that Kushida's finisher is a Kimura lock. So he tried to at first get him in the Kimura lock to tap out, but Lowell Flynn Jr. reversed it. Kushida hits a kick right to the shoulder. He hits a DDT on him, and they both just start going back and forth on each other. Kushida hits a big slam, hits a tilt-a-whirl into a slam, and 1-6 spot was Kushida went to bounce off the ropes and hit a high cross body. Kushida counted into a big scoop slam, which looked really cool. And Kushida hits another slam. They both keep exchanging kicks on each other. Lowell Flynn Jr. hits a 450 splash, covers him. Kushida kicks out again, and then eventually the finish comes when Kushida. Also Lowell Flynn Jr. hit a Hurricanrana off the top turnbuckle. That was really cool. Onto Kushida, and then Kushida hits a couple of kicks to the shoulder, and then he gets Lowell Flynn Jr. into the Kimura lock, and he doesn't let go, and Lowell Flynn Jr. taps out. So that means Kushida wins this matchup. Overall, this was a really good match. I thought both competitors were really impressive, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good match. Okay, so next, Kushida and Virgil Flynn Jr. are backstage, and they're helping each other out after the loss. Kushida talks about how Lowell Flynn Jr. has potential, and Lowell Flynn Jr. talks about how Kushida is the best in the world, and he said that that's why he lost. And then Kushida talks about how the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship is dream come true. I thought this was fine. Okay, so next it plays a build-up for the G.F.W. Women's Championship, build-up for like the triple threat coming up between Lady Tapa, Mickie James, and Christina Von Eerie. This was very good. I thought it was a really nice build-up, and I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. You know, each woman kind of talk about why they feel like they should win the title. Mickie James talks about how she's wrestled and all. Well, at first they talk about what the women's division means to them and how they want to have this women's revolution, and how G.F.W. treats their women like wrestlers. You know, they don't put G.F.W. They don't put the woman into a category like what WWE does with the Divas and with TNA does with the Knockouts. They're just treated like one of the guys, and they talk about things that can be done uh, to make women's wrestling feel important. This sounds like a big publicity stunt, but I'm saying it. Then they talk. Then they kind of go on to the long pass and talk about why they feel like they will win the women's championship. You know, Mickie James says that she wants to feel validated after having a baby. She wants to feel validated and say that that she, not that she still had it, but that she never lost it. She talks about her accomplishments, how she's won championships all over the world, and she talks about her opponents, how she hasn't seen much of Christina's work since it's been a few years, and how Lady Topper is a force to be reckoned with. Lady Topper feels like that she's the only one to be afraid of every time she looks at herself in the mirror. She's the biggest person to feel in this match, and how she should and how her power and strength is going to give her the ability to destroy her opponents. Christina Von Eerie talks about how she's going to use her athleticism and her beauty to win this matchup, and it shows all of them training and stuff. And you had Karen Jarrett cutting the promo too, talking about the importance of wrestling and how she can't wait to see who's going to be the first ever women's champion. So overall, I thought this was a really good video package and a really nice way to build up to the match. And they announced that the match was going to happen, well, next week, but obviously, because this is taped, I don't know if it's going to happen in G.F.W. and Part 1 or if it's going to happen in Part 2. So we're going to have to wait and see. Okay, so I realize that a lot of time has passed since I did the last take of the reviews. I apologize for that. Pretty much what happened is I just got busy with other things, so I didn't really have time to get back to this, but I plan on still reviewing GFW shows or TNA Impact Wrestling, whatever it's called now. I'll get to that later. What I'll do is, as I review it with each episode, I'll go over like new stuff that's happened. Because I know I'm like very behind. I'm months behind, so I'm gonna try to catch up on this. But yeah, so the first the first part of this video takes place. I filmed on September 23rd, 2017, and this part I'm filming today. And today, just in case I don't finish it, is November 9th, 2017. So yeah, I'm very behind on this review. So I want to try to get back on track with the GFW, TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever it's called, videos. So I'm just going to continue reviewing the show. So next, and I rewatched the show too, like the beginning of it, and I'm just going to continue watching it. But next, we had a video package for Kevin Cross, and he's facing Bobby Roode in the first round match for the GFW in the GFW World Championship Tournament. So this was a way to build him up for that. You know, he introduces himself. He talks about how he's been a fighter his entire life, and he talks about how he doesn't always he does what's necessary to win, just like all of the greatest performers of all time. And he talks about how you know, people are looking at him like an underdog in this tournament, but he doesn't really see how he is an underdog since he's 6'4" and 200 something pounds. He talks about how he likes to hit people hard just like Bobby Roode does, and he likes to hurt people, and he's going to utilize that style to win the GFW World Championship. And he talks about too, like, how he got to GFW and everything. So overall, I thought he cut a really good video package here, and it actually hyped me up to want to see him versus Bobby Roode in the main event. Even though I've never seen Kevin Cross wrestle, I like the way he was presented here, like he was a legitimate badass. So I like that. Okay, so next we had a video package for Chris Mordensky, and he pretty much talks about his career path in professional wrestling, how he was you know, a huge like amateur wrestler in college. Then he was signed to the WWE and sent down to OVW to really apply his craft, and he talks about how he compared that to college because he had to learn everything down in OVW. Then he talks about, you know, how he had some rough patches. He talks about how he's been doing this a decade, and he had finally really started to apply his, well, over a decade now, but he had started to really apply his craft, and then he was released from WWE right when he started to pick up the game. So he applied what he had learned in WWE in England and all over the world, and he plans on using the G.F.W. World Championship Tournament to finally get his career on track and finally make a statement in professional wrestling. And then that was about it. I actually liked his video package a lot. I remember Willie wasn't that big of a Chris Mordensky fan when he was in WWE. He was Chris Masters before. I may have said that. But I thought he came off very well here. So overall, I thought this was good. Okay, so next we had a video package for the Bollywood Boys, and I'm going to be honest, I don't remember what their names were before, like their actual names, because I'm used to their WWE names now, so I don't really, so yeah, I'm just going to call them the Bollywood Boys and just talk about them as a team. They talk about how they've had this dream for years. This was pretty much the same video package if you've seen it before from the Cruiserweight Classics. It was just that instead of saying that they wanted to be the Cruiserweight champion and adding that stuff about how they would have to fight each other, they talked about how they wanted to be the G.F.W. Tag Team Champions. It was pretty much the exact same video package. But, you know, they talked about how they've had this dream for years, and they wanted to do something different with the Indian culture. They didn't want it to be a stereotype thing, so that made them come up with Bollywood Boys, because Bollywood is pretty much Hollywood down there in India. And they talked about, you know, how certain great wrestlers of all time have told them just to be themselves. And they talked about how all the years of hard work will be worth it for them to finally win the GFW Tag Team Championship. So that was pretty much the entire video package. I thought this was a very good video package. I thought, you know, I thought the Bollywood Boys came off very well here, and yeah, they just came off very well, and makes me kind of want to see them win that tournament. Okay, so the next match was a GFW Global Championship Tournament first round match. It was Bobby Roode versus Kevin Cross, and I thought this was a good match here. They both start chain wrestling each other, and they both go back and forth. Roode out wrestles him sometimes because of experience, and Kevin Cross is able to outpower him. Eventually, Kevin Cross did a shoulder block, and Bobby Roode rolls out of the ring to recollect his game plan. Kevin Cross pulls Bobby Roode back into the ring, and he attacks him. He dominates him. He hits a suplex on him, and then he hits a wicked knee to the gut, showing his MMA background. Then eventually, Bobby Roode gets the advantage. He throws him shoulder first into the steel post, and then Roode targets the shoulder of Cross. He throws him shoulder first again into the post on the outside. He throws him shoulder first into the steps, and he really starts to target the shoulder of Kevin Cross. Then eventually, Kevin Cross hits a knee to the head on Roode. He exposes the knee pad and goes for another one, but Roode counters into a spine buster. Then Bobby Roode goes for a Roode bomb. Kevin Cross counters into a roll-up, and then Roode turns it into a crossface. Kevin Cross taps out. Bobby Roode wins, and now he advances in the tournament in the Global World Championship tournament. Overall, I thought this was a good match. I thought both wrestlers showcased their talents really well. I think it made sense for Bobby Roode to go over, considering the fact that they really hyped him up big for this tournament. It really wouldn't make sense for him to lose in the first round. But overall, I thought this was a good match here. Okay, so next we had a vignette for the Akbars. And this was pretty much a terrorist gimmick. They talk about stuff like, what would you do if you saw one of us sitting next to you on an airplane, if you saw one of us just chilling with you. And they talk about how they always get accused of being guilty. And this is pretty much a terrorist gimmick. Because they wear the turbans on their head and everything. And they're pretty much marketing this tag team as a terrorist gimmick. It seems like a decent idea. I just think it's a bit controversial to be doing this. I get GFW was technically supposed to be an indie company, but I think doing the terrorist gimmick was a bit too risky. Just because terrorism's a bad thing. And this is like, you know, it's a gimmick that I think you just shouldn't really try, because it's so controversial that it just it's just gonna get you nuclear in trouble. Now I get technically G.F.W. was supposed to be an indie company, and indie companies can get away with doing this. Like a company like WWE and TNA wouldn't be able to do something like this. But I still think it's a little bit too controversial. It's suicide for the wrestlers, and that's just what I think. Plus, it's another anti-America gimmick, and we've seen those done to death now, so you didn't really need to do that. And I know I know that this was filmed back in 2015. I know that. I said that in the beginning of this video. But I just think that it was a bit of a risk to do this gimmick, especially even in 2015, because this was after, the Boston bombings, and then just before that, I mean, I know this didn't happen yet, but you also had the Paris attacks, so I just think it was a bit too soon. It's a bit controversial to do terrorist gimmicks. I mean, look what happened with Muhammad Hassan. I get that was out of WWE's control, but I'm just saying it was about the same thing, but that's just what I think. Okay, so next it shows a video package, pretty much going over what happened the previous week, and it even shows a little interview with Kevin Cross talking about how Bobby Roode may be a douchebag, but he beat him fair and square and he lost, and he respects him. I thought it was the exact way Kevin Cross should have acted, and I liked it. Alright, so next, I believe his name was Mikey Whipwreck, was out there singing America the Beautiful, and he gets attacked by the Akbars because of the terrorist gimmick, which they got booed. Then we had a G.F.W. Tag Team Championship Tournament first round match. It was the Akbars versus the Bollywood Boys, and I thought this was a good tag team match here. The Bollywood Boys started on fire. They hit some nice, quick, fast-paced tag team moves onto the Akbars, and then eventually the Akbars get the heat for a long time onto I think it was Irv Shearer. I don't remember his name. Because I'm so used to the WWE names. And they hit some nice double team moves on him. They hit some nice, they did some nice tag team psychology. I like that. Then Herb gets the hot tag, and he goes off on the Akbars, and eventually the Bollywood Boys win when they hit double super kicks on both the Akbars, and then one of them hits an elbow, like a forearm, and then the other one hits an elbow drop for the win, and the Bollywood Boys advance in the tournament. So overall, I thought this was a good match here. It really put over the Bollywood Boys, and it really put over the Akbars. And I thought this was a good match. Now I'm getting tired, and I'm going to go to bed. But since I only have one more part of the actual show, I will actually finish this review tomorrow, so that way I can move on with the G.F.W. TNA Impact Wrestling, whatever it's called. So yeah, I will finish this. Tomorrow, and have the review up at some point. So please look out for it. Which I don't know why I'm saying that, because the review will already be up by the time I'm done recording it. But yeah, I will have the review up tomorrow. Okay, so next we had a video package for Sanjay Dutt, and he talks about his sacrifices in professional wrestling. He talks about how he was like 20 years old when he was signed to the company. He's been doing this for 14 years, and he talks about how when he was signed, he was still in college and he was working towards his bachelor's degree, but when he finally got it, he said that wrestling was more of a priority for him. Talks about how he was signed to professional wrestling, and he says that he's really grown to love professional wrestling. Talks about how his experiences with TNA, and he talks about how he's wrestled, how in 2014 he wrestled all over the world, and then he says that he's going to use that to win the second gen tournament, and he also says that he talks about how usually the wrestling business changes you for the bad, but he felt like it changed him for the better, because he says that he wouldn't know where he would be without wrestling. And then he says that that he has a daughter that's now 5 years old, which this was filmed in 2015, so she's probably 7 now. And he talks about how he's got a wife that he's been with for almost 13 years, and he says that he's going to use that to win the second gen championship. Overall, I thought it was a good video package and a good story for Sanjay Dutt. Okay, so next we had a video package for Jigsaw, and he talks about how he's been wrestling his entire life and he loves wrestling. He talks about how when he shows up to a show, he doesn't just show up, wrestle, and leave. He does every aspect of wrestling. He learns everything that he can. He even shows up and sweeps the ring and helps set up the ring. He says that he wants to learn everything that he can about it because he loves professional wrestling and he loves the business. And he talks about how people look at him because of his unique look. And then he says that he's excited to be a part of something new with the second gen championship tournament. And he says that he used to watch Jeff Jarrett a lot when he was a kid, so he finds it honorable that Jeff Jarrett says that he could be the face of the second gen championship division. So he says that he's going to win the second gen championship tournament and prove why he is the best wrestler on the planet. And overall, I thought it was a very good promo, and I thought he had a very good story. Okay, so next, Karen Jarrett comes out, and she talks about how G.F.W. has become a history-making event, which didn't happen. And she talks about how they wanted to showcase the best professional wrestlers in the world, and she wanted to make sure that the women didn't get left out. That's why the women are main eventing tonight, and she gets interrupted by Lady Tapa and her husband and manager, Royal Red. And Royal Red's upset that Mickie James is involved in this because he claims that Mickie James is just old news, which I kind of find this kind of funny that I'm seeing this played out because WWE just did pretty much the similar storyline to that, so I thought that was kind of funny. And Karen Jarrett pretty much cuts her off and talks about how Lady Tapa has to have her husband speak for her, but she can speak for herself because she's all woman, and she gives her advice to keep her husband caged up and just focus on you, and she says that the main event is next, and then that was it. Karen Jarrett pretty much owned both of them. I didn't like this very much. It's pretty much how it goes. The boss always has to get the last laugh, and it just kind of felt like this was all about Karen Jarrett. It really wasn't about the woman, so I didn't like this very much. It was bad. Okay, so next we had a women's championship first round tournament match. It was Lady Tapa with Red Royal ringside versus Mickie James versus Lacey Von Eerie, I think her name was. I don't even care enough to look it up. This match wasn't really that good, which kind of sucked because this was supposed to be like the first ever women's main event, and it just didn't really feel that way. It just kind of felt like any other women's match you could see. Yeah, I just didn't think the match was good. Pretty much the Lady Tapa destroys Mickie James and Lacey Von Eerie throughout this matchup. She lays out both of them with a double Samoan drop. Then Mickie James and Lacey Von Eerie work together, but they can't work together long enough to take out Lady Tapa. Then Mickie James lays her out with the DDT, which looked like crap. And then Lacey Von Eerie throws her out of the ring and then hits a backstabber off the turnbuckle for the win. And Lacey Von Eerie won. I don't agree with that decision. You had Mickie James have this big comeback. You hyped up Mickie James, and she lost. I mean, she didn't get the pin, but I don't really get to why they had like a triple threat match at a tournament. That was stupid. Could they not? I mean, that was dumb. It's like they had like an odd number of women, so they just decided to throw a triple threat match in there. That was stupid. And afterwards, Lacey Von Eerie says that nobody should be surprised that I won, but I'm gonna win again and become the new G.F.W. Women's Champion. It's kind of weird because I think she's supposed to be a face, but her promos, the way they sound, come off as like such heel promos. So I don't know. This match wasn't good. Lady Tapa sucks. So yeah, this match I'm gonna give like a star and a half. I didn't really like it that much. Okay, so we had the next match. It was another first round match in the second gen championship tournament. We had Sanjay Dutt versus Jigsaw, and this was a really good match. At first, they both shake hands, and I'm not going to go through move for move what happened. I'll just say the spots that I liked. They both hit chain wrestling holds on each other. Sanjay Dutt hit a drop kick through the ropes, and then he puts on a luchador mask from the fans and headbutts Jigsaw, which was cool. Jigsaw gets him into an abdominal stretch, but stretches Sanjay's legs back, and then he hits it like a backbreaker, and then Sanjay Dutt hits a drop kick into a 450 splash, into a running shooting style splash, and Jigsaw hits a double stomp to the back. After hitting a front feet suplex off the turnbuckle, Sanjay Dutt hits a super kick and a Hurricanrana DDT. And they pretty much it was a lot of dives in this match. Sanjay Dutt hits a flip dive Jigsaw hits a flip dive over the top rope onto Sanjay Dutt, and eventually Jigsaw hits a super kick into a I forget the name of the move, but it was like a muscle buster pretty much. And Jigsaw wins. He hits his finisher and gets the win. And now he's advancing into a fatal 4-way match in the second round for the second gen championship. Overall, this was a really good match. I would definitely recommend you check it out. 3 1/4. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Okay, so next we had a hype video package building up the match between Nick Aldis and Congo Khan. And his manager's talking about how Congo Khan could finally get recognized and be looked at as the monster he's always wanted to be when he takes out Nick Aldis tonight. It even shows the footage of Nick Aldis getting laid out by Congo Khan, and Congo Khan's talking about how it was impressive that you came right after me, but you're going to have to beat me face to face in the ring tonight. And even shows him going backstage. Of them getting into it backstage, and Nick Aldis shoves his manager, and officials have to break up before they can get into a fight. And overall, I thought it was a good promo. I thought this was a good way to build up this match, and I'm looking forward to watching the match, so I can't wait for it. Okay, so next, Jigsaw is backstage, and he talks about how he feels like he's on Cloud 9 and how awesome of a match that was. And then Sanjay Dutt comes up, and they pay respect to each other. Talks about how Jigsaw is going to represent the next gen division very well. And then when he walks away, Jigsaw says that that's a class act, and he said that to beat a competitor like that, there's no way he's losing this tournament. Very good promo. Very good segment. Okay, so next, we had a video package for Reno Scum. I've never heard of these guys before, so I don't really know a lot about them, but they pretty much talk about how everything that you see from them is no gimmick. This is their real life. The tattoos, the scars, it's all years of putting their bodies on the line for professional wrestling to get an opportunity. And they talk about how they're going to get that opportunity when they win the G.F.W. tag team titles, and they talk about how they've been friends for years, and you didn't need to throw them together as a tag team. They're real-life friends. And overall, I thought this was a good video package, and I kind of want to see what Reno Scum does. Okay, so then we had the main event, and this was actually like the main event. This was the last match on the show. It was Congo Khan with Mikey Whipwreck versus Nick Aldis, and the winner, this was a GFW Global Championship tournament first round match. And before the match, Mikey Whipwreck is hyping up Congo Khan, talking about how he's his best friend. He's a 400-pound beast. Actually liked his promo. And Nick Aldis immediately comes out. He attacks Congo Khan. He lays a ton of right hands on him. He knocks Congo Khan out of the ring. He hits a baseball slide drop kick, throws him into the post, and he goes to go after Mikey Whipwreck. But then when he goes back into the ring, Congo Khan catches him with the right hand, and Congo Khan dominates the matchup for a while. He hits a power slam, a high forearm, and I actually thought Congo Khan looked really good out there. He hits a bear hug on Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is able to fight out of it, and he hits a flying clothesline from the middle turnbuckle, and then eventually Nick Aldis starts to make his comeback, and he hits a superplex from the top turnbuckle, and then he hits a elbow drop from the top turnbuckle, covers him. Congo Khan kicks out. Then Congo Khan hits a corner splash into a cannonball. Nick Aldis kicks out of that, and then eventually Nick Aldis hits a trying to remember what he hit. Then eventually Nick Aldis hits a spine shaker, or it was pretty much a back suplex into a Uranagi for the win, and Nick Aldis advances in the tournament. And overall, I thought this actually was a good match here. I'll give it 3 stars. I thought Nick Aldis was great. It's been a while since I've seen Nick Aldis wrestle. I think it's been since 2015, TNA Slammiversary, 2015. It's been a while since I've seen Nick Aldis wrestle, so thought he had a good match here. Alright, and that was the show. It took me a while to finish this review, mainly because I stopped doing it for a while, but I finally finished the review. Overall, I thought this was a good show. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It was definitely a good wrestling show to sit down and watch. I enjoyed the matches. I enjoyed both of the second-gen championship first-round matches. With I enjoyed the PJ Black Sonata match, and I enjoyed the Jigsaw Sanjay Dutt match. I thought those were really good. I enjoyed Kusita versus that other guy. I don't remember his name, but I enjoyed that match as well. I enjoyed Bobby Roode versus Kevin Cross, and I enjoyed Nick Aldis versus Congo Khan. And I also enjoyed the tag team match with the Akbuds versus the Bollywood Boys. I thought those were good matches. I liked the way the show was presented with the promo segments and stuff. The only thing there was some things I didn't like on the show. I thought the commentary was kind of bad at times because they clearly put 2 guys on commentary who kind of knew about wrestling but didn't know about wrestling at the same time, because anytime in tag team matches when they would break the rules or something, they would call it out instantly and stuff. I thought that was kind of stupid. Or like they wouldn't really be breaking the rules like they normally in tag team matches you're allowed to be in the ring for 5 seconds, but they would instantly call it out. I also didn't really like, because you could clearly see that this was taped, and I didn't think this was edited very well, because they showed the Nick Aldis Congo Khan match, which in real life took place before the Bobby Roode Kevin Cross match, as the last match on the show. So I just thought that this show could have been edited together. And like I said, it does kind of make you disappointed, because G.F.W. really was never really able to get it off the ground as a TV deal. So it makes you kind of question what could have been. But overall, I did enjoy the show. I enjoyed the matches and stuff. It's just, it's just kind of like one of those shows you could just sit down and watch for fun, not really for storylines or anything. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a good show. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video for so people will watch it. I will try to start reviewing G.F.W, TNA, or Impact Wrestling, whatever it's called now. Going forward, you have a lot to catch up on. And make sure you guys check out this channel for more content. Click on the bell so every time we upload a video, you guys will get the notification for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and No One the Talkinator channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.